Hey guys, it's Morgan, back with another video. I recently had my gallbladder removed, and I do not remember the date. I'll have to look. I'll put that in here. If you are going to get surgery, it's important to know that a lot of people who get weight loss surgery end up losing their gallbladder. Your gallbladder is just filled with gallstones. I honestly do not scientifically, I'm not capable of explaining why this is. Like, I just don't honestly know why that is. It's kind of the same thing, like, you know that if you get weight loss surgery, there's a really good chance you're gonna lose your hair. Some people say that it's just the rapid weight loss. Some people say that it's the protein and the nutrition. Some people say it's the anesthesia. Some people are spared. Some people are not. Some people do all of the things. They use all of the specialty shampoos and they do all of the protein shakes, and they're religious about getting all of the protein requirements in, and they still lose hair. So it's a whole challenging thing to navigate when there's not a clear-cut answer or a clear-cut path. Like, how do you navigate that? You just can do the best that you can do because there's not a clear-cut path. And people who are getting surgery are looking for answers and looking for guidance. And what I've found is there's no clear answer. It's just kind of go with the flow, figure it out as you go. Every body is literally different, and every body is going to have a different reaction to different things. I know people who had weight loss surgery, lost their hair, grew their hair back, and then they went and had skin removal surgery and lost their hair again. So there was really no change in nutrition. It was just a traumatic surgery to their body, and it caused their hair to fall out. So it doesn't happen right after surgery. It happens like 4 or 5 months after surgery. Like I said, different for everybody, the timeline. And then eventually you start seeing regrowth. So like I said, there's really no clear-cut answer. I cannot give you one. Some people claim to have the answer. Some people claim they know like the special things you need to do. I've even seen people give people advice about how not to lose hair and what products to use, and like be selling products, but then they've literally had hair loss. Even though they don't talk about it, their hair is so thin, it's like this short, and they cut it all off for a reason. So it's just, it's crazy out here. There's so much false information. It just takes a lot of energy and like critical thinking to sift through it all. So anyways, gallbladder surgery is the point of this video, so let me get to it. I went to Mexico for my surgery because my health insurance does not cover bariatric surgery or fertility treatments. So I paid out of pocket and I went to Mexico. I know some people go to Mexico because they don't have insurance at all, and that's fine. It's just the way our world works, where it's not affordable for everyone depending on your employment situation, if you're self-employed, what have you. Luckily I have insurance. I'm self-employed, but I have insurance, thank God. So my point of saying all this is that because your insurance situation, based on it, you may only have certain visits to doctors and what have you. It's important to kind of understand what, number one, that gallbladder issues are a real thing. Number two, how to detect it and how to understand it and know, and also how to get the right treatment for it. So I'm going to tell you my story so that you can kind of use it as a tool. So what I will say is this. It came out of nowhere. One of the questions the doctor asked me was, how long has this been happening? Once. It came out of nowhere. I did not have any pre-existing kind of like step up towards a gallbladder situation. It just came out of nowhere in one major flare-up, and that was enough for me to go get it checked out. So basically what happened was I hadn't eaten a lot that day. I know I had a coffee that day, and the only reason I kind of remember this right now is because, like I said, I previously tried to make a video and then I got interrupted. I think somebody showed up and I had to end the video, and I never got back to finishing it, so I'm just redoing it. But I do remember that day saying that I hadn't eaten a lot. I'd eaten like a coffee, and I had maybe had a tiny little thing. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't a lot. Like something for me would be like a cheese stick or something small. And what happened was I had been doing a lot of things, and the nighttime crept up on me, and then I ate food while laying down in bed. And I'm trying to remember what it was, because it wasn't, oh, I remember what it was. It was like 5 or 6 Ritz crackers, because we had a box of Ritz crackers and I was famished and I just needed something to grab, and I had some cheese. And it wasn't much. Advocating for yourself and understanding your body and understanding things is super important, especially when it comes to medicine, because in my experience, doctors don't know everything. So basically what happened was I had this moderate snack. I had barely eaten anything, and I got the most excruciating pain. Now, the location of the pain was at the very center arch of my rib cage. So right underneath my breast, right in the middle, maybe slightly over to the side. Mine was on my right, but it radiated, so it was hard to really, in that arch of your ribs where your diaphragm is where it was, and it was really hard to really pinpoint a specific location-ish, because it was a radiating, steady pain. Like I said, there was no pre-gallbladder issues before this, and at this time I didn't really know it was my gallbladder. My first inclination was the food didn't go down right, or I ate something that didn't agree with me. If you've had the surgery, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm sure everybody's sensations and discomfort is different when eating something that doesn't agree with them, or eating something that's a little too greasy, or eating something too fast. But at first, that was my first go-to. It was the only experience I had with that sort of area of discomfort, although my stomach is on this side and this pain was more centered and a little higher maybe, but it's in the same vicinity. It was a radiating pain. It was not sporadic. It was just intense, and it was like, it wasn't like sharp pain. It wasn't like contractions or cramps. It wasn't like sharp pain, decline, sharp pain. It was a very steady, radiating in a certain area pain. So at first, like I said, I thought something didn't agree with me. Something's not sitting correctly in my stomach. But it was so intense that I knew something was not right. It was a different sort of discomfort, and it was beyond discomfort into a severe pain. Now, like I said, the pain was steady, and the thing that I experience with pain is with me, even if the pain is a steady pain, I can tolerate pain, but my tolerance declines the longer I'm experiencing it. So it's like in the beginning I can breathe and I can cope, but eventually it wears me down. I don't know if it's like a physical wear down or a physical and mental wear down or a mental wear down, but even though the pain was steady, at first I laid there and I just breathed through it, coped with it, breathed, deep breaths, mind control, mind over matter. Like, okay, I'm in pain, I'm in severe pain, let me lay here. I tried standing up, I laid down, I stretched out, I tried to lay flat. I couldn't really sit up because where the pain was, like that, any kind of bending was like excruciating. So at some point, probably 30 minutes after the beginning of it, I don't know why I didn't think of this earlier, it just kind of dawned on me, gallbladder. I've heard so many videos and read so many things about people having weight loss surgery, and then about a year to a year and a half out, their gallbladder fails and they have to go in for emergency gallbladder surgery. And my worst fear was my gallbladder exploded or my gallbladder has ruptured. And I was like, we're going to the ER now. It's my gallbladder. Like, it has to be, like, it's my gallbladder. And my husband likes to tease me because I like to think I'm a doctor and I like to figure stuff out and I like to rely on myself. Like, I'm the person who will argue with the doctor, I'm not gonna lie. And he just is like, they're doctors, they have degrees, like, we're gonna listen to them. And I'm like, nope, I know me. They might have degrees, but I know my body. And it's just like diagnosing a car, right? There's only so many systems in the human body. There's only so many systems in a car. Like, you can just narrow it down, like property of deduction. Like, I'm just like gallbladder. Like, it has to be my gallbladder. It's in the vicinity. Like, if I feel it, I've never had it, but I know it's my gallbladder. So we went to the ER because it was night. And my husband went with me. It was like 2 a.m. It was like during the whole COVID thing. And there was nobody in the ER, which is great. Like, I felt pretty safe. But we went there and they decided they were going to give me an MRI. And of course, I'd been on my phone and I had been looking up like how to detect if it's gallbladder and this and the other. And I think by this time, I may have not posted this, but I'll tell you that in a second. But I was looking up stuff like, how do you diagnose like a gallbladder? And a lot of people had different diagnosed tools and different tests and different things they had done to diagnose, like, oh, it was their gallbladder. One of them was not an MRI, and they were like, we're going to give you an MRI and we'll be able to tell if you have gallstones and be able to tell if it's your gallbladder. And my question was, MRI is going to be able to tell this? And they were like, yeah. I was like, okay, like, you're doctors. What the fuck, dude? I was like, you're doctors. Cool, let's go, bro. So we did. They gave me morphine. And it was, I hate drugs. I don't take any kind of drugs except for coffee and nicotine occasionally. So they gave me morphine and it literally, like, I laid there and I remember my mouth was like this and I couldn't close my mouth. And I just laid there. And I had instantaneous relief from my pain, but I could still feel it, and that's how painful it was. Like, there was relief because it like numbed my brain's ability to sense the pain, but I was still in pain. Like, that's how severe it was. Like, I was on morphine. These people at Starbucks are literally savage. Savage. Fucking savage. They will literally block roads. So after morphine, the only thing they did was give me an MRI. At this point, before the morphine, I wouldn't have been able to like switch tables or scooch over or get into the machine. I would have been in so much pain just moving. But because I had the morphine, they were like, so are you feeling okay right now? Like, where's it hurt? I'm like, it doesn't hurt anywhere really. It's like, I know where the pain is, I can feel it, but I'm not really in pain because of the morphine. So they put me in the MRI machine and they maybe ran a couple of tests because they told me that my liver enzymes were elevated and they told me there was nothing wrong with my gallbladder. And they said I should just follow up with my doctor. But I'm thinking to myself, if I had no insurance, no doctor, no primary caregiver to follow up, and I went to a ER and their doctors, and I mean, I know they don't specialize in gallbladder, but like, they just basically tell me that it's not your gallbladder, you're fine, then some people could be suffering with this and not know it. And like, how many flare-ups are you going to get before your gallbladder? Like, I don't know. It's just, so I went to my primary caregiver and she basically did some more tests and she scheduled me for a ultrasound. The ultrasound did it. Another thing I did was I went on like gastric sleeve like support group, gastric surgery, bariatric surgery support group, and I basically told them like, this was my experience, this is this. I cannot recommend doing that because literally everybody had a different opinion of what it was. Like, a whole like litany of a list of different things, like, okay, well, you have an obstruction, like there's a possibility you have a hole in your suture. Like, there was a long list of things they thought was wrong with me. It's autoimmune, it's this or this. A lot of people said it was probably gallbladder. but other people who had a gallbladder situation or had previously had a gallbladder removal situation, they also experience different things. Like, oh, this is like probably not gallbladder. Gallbladder happens more frequently, or I'm gonna order Starbucks.
Cinnamon powder and whipped cream, right?
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
That's it.
I have a total of $3.69.
Okay, thank you.
You see that window?
My drink went from $7.20 to $3.69, but I usually get a discount because White works here, but I've overcome that. Like, I'm not drinking any sugar anymore in my coffee. So, posting, basically, hey guys, this is my symptoms, this is what happened. Can anybody give me any idea of what's going on or any advice as to what this could be? Was not really the best idea because there were so many other things that they mentioned, but it was a lot. A lot of people, like I said, who had gallbladder removal or had situations like mine, they experienced a whole different experience with their gallbladder. So like I said, everybody is different. Luckily, I went in for the ultrasound. Luckily, I had a primary caregiver. Went to get the ultrasound and had some blood work done, and they tested that I think it might have been blood work. I don't remember exactly how they test for liver enzymes, but they were elevated and they showed gallstones. And so I was immediately scheduled for surgery, met with the surgeon. The surgeon gives you an option. You can, and they ask you a lot. They ask you this question a lot. How long has your gallbladder been acting up? I'm like, yesterday. Like, the first time was that time. I'm not trying to go through multiple flare-ups of my gallbladder and experience this pain. Like, no, I cannot psychologically deal with that amount of pain, like, repeatedly. So they he told me, he said, a lot of people can just deal with it, it's not life-threatening, or you can get it removed because it's not going to get better, it doesn't heal itself. And so I said, well, let's just remove this little biatch out of my body. And so we scheduled, I had to get tested for COVID. Oh, scary, and it sucked. And my instinct was to push the nurse. I was pushing her as she was, and I was like, I'm sorry, I'm pushing you. But it's so instinctual to just like push somebody away from going up into your brain. You know, it's just very odd. Hi, brother. Okay, so yeah, this is the coffee. I'll tell you real quick what it is. It is a grande iced Americano with heavy cream with sugar-free cinnamon dolce, 4 pumps of that, which is standard in a grande, so you don't actually have to say 4, but I say 4 pumps of sugar-free cinnamon dolce, it's a tongue twister, and 4 pumps of sugar-free vanilla, and then I get whip on top as like a little treat. There's so little carbs in whip, it's no biggie. And then I get cinnamon powder for flavor, and it just looks like this, and it looks like that, and there's the, so it was scheduled to come out, and the surgery went relatively well, except for one thing. When they went to take my gallbladder out, some of the stones escaped my gallbladder and slipped into God only knows what tubes, and it required an emergency surgery the next day. Which is one thing that's really weird, is you wouldn't think that's very common, but my husband's friend's wife had gallbladder surgery the same day as me and had to go in to have emergency surgery the very next day. What are the odds, right? It's so bizarre. So they have to go the next day and do an additional surgery to get all the stones out of me. Cool. Sounds like a good time, right? Late that night at like midnight, something, 9, I don't remember what time it was. It was pretty late. I got another excruciating flare-up from the stones trying to pass by themselves, and I was in so much pain, and I was gonna go to the ER, and not because I thought they could do some kind of emergency surgery that night. I didn't think they would be able to. I didn't think the doctors were available. I didn't think it was necessarily gonna be a thing. And I wasn't really necessarily scared for my life or anything. I just knew it was those stones in there just wreaking havoc. And I mean, it's crazy how the tiniest little stone, you cannot even really see. I mean, you can see them if you take them out, but like they're tiny. They're like a baby size, right? Or some tiny things can affect and cause so much pain. So I wasn't going to go to the emergency room because I tried again to sit and cope with the pain. I knew I was getting surgery the next day, and I just had to wait until the next morning, like 8 or 9 or 7:30 in the morning. And I tried to cope as best I could. And then I was like, can't do it. I need this morphine. Like, I need a drug. Like, I cannot deal. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I didn't want to take a pill and it not be the right thing. Like, I wanted them to make sure there was nothing wrong. So I was a little scared of doing that, I guess. But I was like, we've got to go to the ER. So we get up, they're on clothes, walk out to the truck. And as I'm kind of like heaving myself up in pain into the truck, I'm like, I must have worked that stone, or the motion, or it had to have been moving around and pushing myself up into the truck. Like, the stone, whatever it was, it stopped. It stopped pain abruptly. Pain was gone. And I was like, okay guys, hold on. Let's just sit for here for a second in the driveway. Like, I think we're gonna be okay. Like, I think I'm okay. I think it passed. And luckily it did. We sat there for maybe 20 minutes. I relaxed. It passed. We eventually went back in the house, fell asleep, went to surgery the next day. They did what they had to do. I had to get put back asleep. They used some tubes and whatever. They didn't have to go back inside. They didn't have to reopen my scars or go back in through they didn't have to go, what is the word? Laparoscopically, they did not have to do. They just went with a tube all the way from mouth to you know where, and went all the way through me and cleaned out any stone from any little thing, any pipes. Since then, I have not had any more gallbladder flare-ups. But then again, I didn't have any things I couldn't eat before. A lot of people, like family, were like, oh, you're gonna love having your gallbladder out. You'll be able to eat things. Like, I remember my mom was like, yeah, like I couldn't eat spaghetti sauce until I had gallbladder out. You're gonna love it. And I'm like, I could eat anything, really. Like, I didn't have any issues with any foods. And I kind of did have issues, like, sauce, like red sauce would make me have a heartburn, but that was like years. Like, that was like before weight loss surgery. So that was like a year and a half ago, something like that. Pizza would give me a heartburn. So maybe that was my gallbladder starting to fail then, which just goes to show, like, I'm so grateful for my weight loss surgery. So grateful. I'm so grateful for science. I'm so grateful for everything. Like, I'm just grateful for this opportunity to be healthier and live a more fulfilled, like, more active life, like to experience life on a different level, to have this opportunity to be able to conceive. Like, it means everything to me. So I'm trying to think if that's everything I want to say, but yeah, I did not have any kind of experiences with gallbladder pain or any kind of anything associated with gallbladder before, and the doctors really kind of made it seem like, well, it's probably not your gallbladder then. And my point, I guess, is just like, advocate for yourself. Just knowing that your gallbladder is probably going to be removed at some point, whether it's a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years, 14 years, it's a thing. So just knowing that is important, I think, so you can kind of know what it could be. If you just go into the hospital with excruciating pain, if you had your surgery in Mexico, you might be scared shitless that it's the surgery. Something's wrong with the surgery. There are always these doctors, you know, they're like, oh, you had surgery in Mexico a year and a half ago or a year ago and you've lost 37 pounds. Yeah, it's probably your surgery. You probably should have gone to Mexico. They're quick to say that just because, like, I think it's just lack of information. But that's my gallbladder story. I think it's important to share it. Simply knowing that your gallbladder, I don't know what the percentage is, but I would say it's maybe like 30 to 40% chance. I don't think it's 50 to 60. It might be that high, but there's a pretty good chance that you're going to lose your gallbladder. I don't know why. I don't know why the gallbladder fails, but that's basically the story. I just think it's important to share that so you don't freak out. Can you pop your stitches or your staples, or can you go into some kind of like horrible like situation with like a blockage in your actual stomach and like your surgery mess up a year and a half later? I'm sure you can if you go too crazy, if you don't eat gently and stuff. And I'm guilty of eating a little too fast sometimes, and it's your gallbladder. Another thing I want to say too is I'm really not a fan of like snake oils and like bullshit ass, like phony like treatments. Now, I've seen a lot of people, and it's kind of funny actually, but I've seen a lot of people like tout this like, you have to take really good care of your gallbladder after weight loss surgery, and so I like rub essential oils all over my gallbladder, and then they end up getting their gallbladder out. Like, I really just think that like, I believe in like, you know, functional medicine. Like, I believe in the, you know, finding the root and taking care of yourself, and I feel like food is medicine, like to the ultimate extent. And I really don't like when people try to use their like MLMs and like their snake oil baloney to like trick people with medical stuff. It's just so sad to me. Like, they claim to have the solution and it's not. And then like I've seen several social media influencers and YouTubers who, you know, claim they have the fix. Like, if you do this, you will lose your gallbladder. Now that I've had weight loss surgery, I'm doing this because I don't lose my gallbladder. And like, they have these expensive ass remedies and like, you know, rubbing oil on like topically on your over your gallbladder is actually gonna, I don't buy that, you know, like it just seems a little counterintuitive to me. So yeah, and then they end up getting their gallbladder out and doing a video on their gallbladder surgery and why they had to have it, like why their solution didn't work, and like meanwhile you've spent like $180 on snake oil. Anyways, love you guys. Thank you for listening, and I hope this was helpful in some kind of way. I hope sharing my experience helps you. I hope you share your experience, and I hope that you guys have all the luck in the world and get everything you want and have a beautiful like results, and I hope you have beautiful surgeries and any kind of goal you're striving for. I hope it's just beautiful, and I'm rooting for you guys. Like, I just want the best for everybody, and self-advocating I'm big on. Like, I know doctors know the answers, but stand up for yourself, advocate for yourself, pay attention, know your body, trust your body, listen to your body, and just good luck with everything. Okay guys, I'm gonna end here. I love you guys. Bye.